Hey, so I think we should talk about respect. I think we should talk about respect because I notice, and I know everyone does, the little respect people have for themselves, but also the little respect that people have for others. And I know that this stems from a misunderstanding of like who we are, in my opinion, is rooted in not knowing where we come from. And I don't mean where do I come from on planet Earth. I mean, who am I really and who created me and how did I get here? From what I understand, self respect is a derivative of the comprehension of the status provided to you by your maker. While your status is very much apple of the eye sort of thing, I think the world would be really different if we all saw ourselves as we truly are, which is the apple of God's eye, the apple of the maker of the universe's eye. You understand? Like, our existence is that significant. Our calling is that large because it's been given to us by the maker of the universe. When you understand this calling was given to you by the most intelligent, most holy, most high being, God the Father of Jesus Christ, the concept of respect and reverence for God, self, and others becomes so much more truly of a way of life than just a theoretical concept. As a result, I'm treating you differently. I'm treating them differently. I'm even understanding God so much differently when I understand how he views me. Respect is one of those things that it's like love, that respect is shown and expressed in action. It's shown and expressed in consideration. It's shown and expressed in expression. Respect is not something I can say that I have for you, and yet I never show it, and you still believe I have respect for you. You follow me? I want to make it clear that, none of this understanding of self, none of this status that I view myself to hold before the God of the universe, none of this understanding comes from a place of ego, rather from a place of extreme humility, from a humbled understanding that I was created. So none of this comes from ego. None of your understanding of yourself, of the beautiful way in which you were made, of the valuable soul that you are, none of that understanding, it doesn't grow. It's not formed by an egotistical view. I am a created being. I have been molded, formed by life and circumstances that God himself allowed in my life. I have been formed into the person that I am now, and yet I still remain. I remain the most impressionable, malleable individual because I quite literally still need to be molded. I consistently need to be transformed and made new, partially because it's written, I will do greater works than he. But further than that, it's also written that this purification process called life, this refinement called life, it's full of moments that are meant to refine us and teach us how to rely on God so much more. And when I learn how to rely on God, it means I've learned who he is. And if I've learned who he is, then I've learned a lot about myself. And again, it's just this, I really think this is why when I get to thinking about all these foundational things about God, when I get to thinking about the character of God, and how he made us and viewed us and made the world, and the precepts that he gives us to follow, because they are quite literally good for us. When I consider all these things about God, all I see is just eternity symbols, infinity symbols. They're everywhere. They're written everywhere because he has created, this life cycle, this loop of life. And when you follow it in the way that he intends, with all of this understanding, again, like pulled from a place of humility and getting the fact that I am the creation and the creator is ahead of me, but he made me. When I really dive into practicing life, experiencing life, exploring life the way that he intended, I notice that it is a constant feedback loop that does transform me, that changes me into a person that sometimes I don't even recognize, but I've always felt that I am in here, but I could never actualize that person by myself. You know, it's the most beautiful like death and rebirth process, like over and over and over again. It actually makes so much sense that I wouldn't be the one doing any of this work, this construction on myself by myself, because realistically, like from that viewpoint, I didn't do any of this to begin with, so I don't even know what to do. And yet there's been an instruction manual written for me. So when I'm considering what's the best way to live my life, what's the best way that I could experience this life as a soul here on earth now, and if there's an afterlife, which I believe that there is, but from your perspective maybe there's not. So then if there's an afterlife, like how can I spend my time, how can I invest my time here wisely to ensure that my afterlife is also a good experience? I mean, the answer is very glaringly obvious to me. It's like the manufacturer's manual. Why would I neglect to review the manufacturer's manual on real life, true life? I think regarding the manufacturer's manual, even if I'm unsure at first, still makes so much more sense to consult with the one deemed to be the creator, studying his works of life and creation to see how it goes, especially considering we're discussing how I conduct my own life. Like, especially if I'm considering that this life that I live now, there is so much purpose and destiny set before me, but there's also a huge piece, like if I don't participate in going towards that or seeking that out, like what am I doing? You know, there's still a piece of this process, of this journey, that's my responsibility to participate in, as I'm aware that I have some responsibility when it comes to my perspective of my life, my quality of life, my enjoyment of my life, my growth from throughout my life. You know, when I recognize that I have some accountability, like in how all this goes, and I want to live something good. I want to live something that's full. I want to live something that's powerful, that's impactful, that's free. I want to live a life that's disciplined and yet beautiful and creative and adventurous. And so I'm going to have enough respect for myself to go pursue the words written before me that, in my experience, are the instruction manual for life. That's where I learned about my status. That's where I learned about my identity. Like, everything I'm talking about with you now, I wasn't even aware of before I knew God. And even once I did know God, I wasn't even aware that this kind of thought, that these kind of words, that this sort of inspiration, that this sort of fire and power and life could come out of me. Like, it was something that it just always felt was here, that I just always, but I can't get to it. Like, I can't access it. I didn't even know any of this was possible until I really started to have some respect for God and who he was, who he is, what he tells me to do, who he tells me I am, and how he intends for me to live, until I started to respect that and surrender to that and follow that process. I was totally just so lost. I was just so lost. This is where the respect comes in when I'm talking about, you know, the respect for the manufacturer, the respect for the builder. I can't take credit for his work, nor can I duplicate or build upon his works if I don't understand how he did what he did and why. It goes back to the participation. Like, it's really hard for me to participate in the meaningfulness and in the improvement, in the excitement, the enjoyment, the refinement, the excellence, the discipline, the perseverance. It's hard for me to participate in the production and experience of those things in my life if I'm not referring to the builder's manual, because it's work. I can't duplicate those kind of results. I can't make a soul, and I can't even really experience my own soul if I'm not referring to the manual with which the maker made my soul, like, against. If I don't understand how he made me and why, I don't understand myself. And that information can only be found in his written manual. I know that you've noticed, because I've noticed this, that humans really struggle to appreciate things that don't fit in like a very well neatly labeled box. I think it's because we were created to live within a unique sort of framework. So we have this tendency again to view things in such like a strategic way, and yet we were all created so uniquely and kind of so niche that though there is this way to follow, the path doesn't necessarily look the same because all of our experiences are going to be different, and yet we can still live and operate within the same framework and have a different experience. I mean, that is the journey of a soul here on earth, guided by the Father of Jesus Christ. You follow me? I think the fact that we are so interested in boxes and patterns and strategies and plans and processes is because that's the sort of framework that we were quite literally like created to live within. We were created to live within a certain kind of framework in order for us to function the best. That same tendency that we have to put people, places, and things into boxes and not consider the variation, not appreciate the fact that every journey is different, not appreciate the fact that your life is your life, and if your path crosses mine, that's cool. Let's learn what we're meant to learn from each other and keep going or stay together. Like the fact that we can't understand that it's a framework that we're meant to follow, an outline, and not a script. You know, I think to want to put everything in such a box and leave it there, it is like an attempt to follow a script, which I don't know if you've discovered this, but I've not been able to find like a successful script in my life. I've not been able to make a successful script. But as I followed the framework, the script has developed. So I think even out, like, it's just so interesting how our tendency to see life in this way is like evidence that we're meant to be that way, and yet we then get our human stuff involved in it and we misunderstand. Like, we're so quick to misunderstand. Ironically, I found that the more I pursue this formula, this way of life, this framework, this blueprint, this study of works, this particular design set forth before me, the more free I become. Truly, the more I blossom and bloom, outgrowing every single box placed before me. The more I follow this framework, the more I'm aware of just how magnificent the framework is, of just how limitless the framework is, of just how excellent and amazing the framework is, because it creates so much room for purpose and appreciation and gratitude and opportunity. And sometimes I wonder if even just the gratitude part alone is what opens our world up so much, to see it from such a perspective that every moment can be appreciated for what it is rather than resented for what it's not. Isn't that kind of like full, beautiful, expressive, limitless life? Isn't that what we all want? I mean, it's the kind of life that I've always known I wanted to live, one that was big and outside of the box, because I never fit into boxes anyway. I was born not fitting into a box, you understand? Like that is my origination, is outside of the box. I've always desired to live outside of the box, and yet when I tried to live outside of the box by myself, my life was very chaotic. And it was filled with like pursuing the wrong things and getting myself stuck in situations, you know, like I was just running free. I was just like running free, and it was bad. It was crazy. Like it was so nuts. But as I started studying the framework and really following the framework, I lived this life of free expression, a fulfillment of purpose, of true peace, of radical life and movement. I revere God for being who He is, the maker of the universe. I understand that He made me. That means I got some self-respect, because if that God made me, like, I'm pretty cool. As I understand and respect myself, it really means I've understood and I've respected, I've revered God for who He is and what He says. And when those two things have happened, I connect with you and I respect you and I see you. I understand how valuable you are as well. I see you and I accept you, and I can accept you, good and bad, because God has shown me, good and bad, and He still accepted me. Mm, I love Him so much for that. Like, that sort of acceptance, it just set me loose, like, in the best way, When before I was just running chaotic, it's like now, I'm free, but I'm like in a disciplined way free. Um, in a fully authentic free, and I can, like, share that with you. I can embrace you being you just by me being me. And now there's this whole connection happening, that we've crossed paths, and we're like there, like, this, woo, it's like a huge moment. It's like a thing in life with anyone. If forgiveness of self and others is the key to deliverance, which I know that it is, deliverance from old hurts and patterns and things of the past, surrender to my maker here and now in the present moment each and every day is the catalyst that spurs the arrival of everything He intends to carry out through and for me and for you, for His glory. And it all stems from reverence, from respect for the maker, for the creator, for the Almighty God, the most high intelligent being, the Ancient of Days. Like, this whole life experience that I've just described stems from respect. God does intend to give good gifts, and because He's the creator of the universe, while we're just a physical, soulful, artistic manifestation of His work, who am I to believe in general that I don't exist to glorify Him, that I don't exist to have this respect for Him, that I don't exist to revere Him in this way? If He is the artist and I am the masterpiece, what makes me believe that my purpose is anything other than a display of His handiwork? If I'm a display of the God of the universe, of the Father of Jesus Christ, of the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Almighty One, the Ancient of Days, if I am that artful, soulful display of this being, man, there's a lot of understanding of self and respect and God and honor and reverence. There's a lot of that goes into this equation, that must go into that equation. Who am I to think that my very existence doesn't confirm Him? And who am I to think that I really have any business altering the work on my own? Who am I to think that I can alter the work on my own, and period, in general anyway? Like, I was created, I'm the masterpiece. I can't go through and paint myself. I've got to be painted. I can't go through and, like, reform myself. I have to be formed. If I am the piece of art, how is it that my purpose would ever be other than a display of the artist's art, considering that this art was made within a certain framework? It was established within a certain framework. It was created by a certain blueprint in mind, with a certain divinity. It was given this, this builder's touch. This art that I am was created within the framework I just described to you. If I'm to continue being this magnificent work of art, if I'm to fulfill my purpose, which is displaying myself as this work of art, guess what? For me to continue being what I was created to be, I must follow the framework. And believe you me, the framework is good. The framework is good. Before I was really living in the framework, I was like this broken pot, this broken clay pot. And now I'm an elegant vessel. I'm filled up and I pour out and I'm filled up again. And I am intricately laced with detail and complexity and beauty. And I fulfill my purpose and I display the creator of life. I respect my maker. I appreciate, I have gratitude. I honor my maker for putting me in this position, for taking me from a broken clay pot and turning me into this magnificent vessel created by the Ancient of Days. That means I'm an heirloom. It means like I'm like an antique. I'm like a very valuable thing, a very valuable possession. You may as well have found me in the pyramids, dug me up from the pyramids. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I am. That's how you are. When you understand, when you choose to understand, and you choose to follow the framework, and you choose to humble yourself to an understanding far higher than yours, and you choose to pursue wisdom outside of yourself. That's who you are. You are the apple of God's eye. You are the most valuable being, creation, possession. Like, you're wonderful. But again, it's hard to have that understanding. It's hard to have that respect and appreciation for myself if I don't get the God who made me that way. And certainly, like, if I don't understand these things about me because I don't understand him, then I don't understand these things about you. And that's whenever we meet up in real life, we're going like this. Whenever we could just be going like this. I hope that this was good for you and like clear and understand, that you can understand what I'm saying. Goodbye.